Data is everything. I mean, AI runs on data. How do we find value in all this data for specific use cases? Speaking of real estate and leasing side of things, if we want to automate leasing, we want to be able to find value with our data, but also compare leasing with other assets in that area. We want to have our own data, compare that, be able to bring that all together and find the right lease comps. So how do we bring all that together? Again, it comes because of data. That's why I said first thing to do is really work on the data, cleaning the data, data governance, and data management.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Leadership Exchange podcast. I'm so excited to be here today. My name's Tracy. You can follow me on Twitter at Lady Leet or on LinkedIn at Tracy S. Lee. And I am joined today by Sam Raghavachari, who is the head of technology at Cabot. Welcome, Sam.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Yes, I'm so excited to chat with you today. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do? I know you have some side hustles and side gigs as well, so love to hear about Sam generally.
Yeah, I am a head of, like you said, I'm a head of technology at Cabot, and I am been at Cabot for about 8, 9 months now, and we are in the midst of strong growth and globally. So that brings a lot of technology challenges, and here to really come in and modernize the platform. Real estate in general is a little bit laggard to the technology, so there's sort of looking back and say we should invest more in technology, right? So that is happening all across the board in my view. So I'm here to really look at the entire technology platform and see where to invest, where to bring up to speed, and do proper investment in the technology portfolio.
I love that. I think earlier in people's careers, they're always so excited about greenfield projects because you can do what you want, choose what
Yeah.
technology you want. But I definitely take more pleasure and excitement in working in legacy systems and figuring that out.
Yeah, this is definitely a unique challenge where it's really building up the team and building up the technology and to set up to scale further, right? And challenge is also we are small and global. We are in 10 or 12 cities globally, and we are in US, we are in Europe, Asia, Australia, and at the same time, we don't have a large technology team. And how do we manage that, right? That's the biggest challenge and satisfy our customers. Very interesting and unique challenge.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And everyone, every industry is obviously talking about AI these days, as I'm sure you all are.
Yeah,
So, AI in commercial real estate, is that a hot topic? What's the next big thing there?
yeah. It's been there's a lot. I mean, we've been last couple of conferences. I mean, last few conferences, not just couple. Last few conferences I've been going to the all we 90% of the time we talk about AI in commercial real estate conferences, right? Um, we at the same time we want to be careful on how do we jump in. Is it all hype or is it value to the portfolio, right? So there are a lot of opportunities in my view with AI in commercial real estate. Commercial real estate has so many different process areas, from acquisitions and managing the property and leasing the property, servicing the property, and dispositions. Every area is a little different in silos, right? And a lot of manual paperwork going along. I mean, just real estate in general, it's heavy paperwork, and there is a lot of back office operations along the way. So there is a lot of opportunities, but I don't think a lot of the companies are ready to jump in because we have before we jump in, we want to make sure our data is clean and quality, and those things have to be our first order of business right before. But at the same time, there are things AI offers like administrative tasks that we can leverage for, right? So those are the things we are looking at initially. And then jump into how do we manage our leases? How do we manage our investments through AI? These are a little bit in the future, but initially I think we are more looking into administrative tasks. How do
I
we
love
help
that.
our simple back office things that we can automate or streamline with AI?
I have to say, one of my favorite experiences was I had a boyfriend who was in tech, and this is actually what inspired me to learn how to code. And so I had a tech startup, and I would come home every day and I would tell him my problems. So, him
Yeah,
as a software engineer, of course, wants to solve my problems.
yeah.
And so, what he would do is I would tell him an issue because we were doing a lot of things manually. And he would say, "Give me 5 minutes." And what
Mm.
he would do for an entire week was write a script every single day when I got home from an issue that I was experiencing. And by the end of that week, somebody that I was paying $50,000, it freed up all of her time,
Oh yeah, yeah,
40 hours a week. And that really inspired me to say, oh my gosh, this is so powerful. But I think it's interesting because you know how powerful, right, it is to just put an engineer next to, let's say, an accountant or a back office person. But nobody really thinks that way. But now
yeah,
with AI, people are really starting to think that way and
yeah,
say, "Oh, AI can do this for me," and
yeah,
it's like something that people can understand.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
I I
really.
I really love that.
There's a lot of the, like you mentioned, right, with AI, back office administration task, creating,
Hmm.
drafting a contract, or analyzing offering memorandum, what we call OMs, right?
Hmm.
Start spending literally hours looking through all this. Can I use AI to surface the key indicators that whether I want to invest in this property or not, right? Uh,
Yes.
so those are the, I feel like, quick wins that we can do. And there are other things. There are a lot of other areas, building optimization for one, right? Or lease management or financial
Hmm.
analysis. There's myriad of things you can do,
Hmm.
but we have to take baby steps and get there eventually.
So in the next 12 months, if you know technology, I mean technology, you talk to I talk to personally many different sectors, and everybody is again thinking about, okay, what's next, what's the future, etc. But if you had to choose, what are going to be the top three technology upgrades in the CRE industry? What do
Yeah,
you think is going to happen in the next 12 months?
I think everybody's talking about AI, but at the same time, I think everybody should think about data, data quality, data cleaning, data cataloging. How do we manage the data that's coming in? But each company is going to be a little different in that path, depending on how their platform is set up and where they are in their journey. If I were to look at it, for us, it's a little bit different. We are really modernizing our foundational technology platforms, but right after that, I would be looking at data management, data governance, data quality, and all that, right? Um, and then definitely look at using the data and start looking at AI use specific use cases that will improve our business processes. That's really my view. And then how do I even use the AI in my cybersecurity area? Reason being, we are a private equity, and we are we are bound by SEC guidelines, and so we have to make sure we take our cybersecurity very seriously because we work with private investors, and we have to be very cautious about cybersecurity and make sure we are doing everything. And being a small team, it makes sense for us to use AI in certain areas and get more bang for the buck.
Yeah, I totally love that. It's I think if anything, AI just enables us to do more with our time, be
Yeah,
more creative in how we do that. And it's funny because I was actually thinking about, we're talking about, the commercial real estate industry and manual tasks. And even on my team, we still have some manual tasks, let's say in the marketing space. And I was just thinking this morning, I told somebody, "Hey, can you take this and dump everything into a spreadsheet?" But
yeah,
now I remember that I can actually put that into ChatGPT and ChatGPT will create it into a spreadsheet for me.
yeah, yeah,
And like, why didn't, that's going to save what, an hour, 2 hours of time?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there, like I said, when we are looking at any asset class in commercial real estate, right?
Hmm.
First thing is you're working with a broker. You're
Yep.
getting all the details about a specific asset, and comes with like 50-page document and
Hmm.
or 30-page document, and then you get once you get drill down, you get more documents, know more about the property. You're spending several hours just combing through all this, right? And
Yeah.
then putting that into your Excel spreadsheet models and
Hmm.
then figuring out whether it makes sense for us or not. And that's typical um, any CRE company, how that's how it's done. I
Yeah.
mean, if we introduce AI and some process efficiencies, this can be cut down in several hours, right?
Yes.
And that's one of the major area we want to look at and see how we can reduce that time frame using AI and then streamlining the business process.
I love that. Well, I'm going to take a quick second because I wanted to give a shout out to our sponsor, This Dot Labs, which is my company. This Dot, just wanted to thank the team actually because they allow us to do things like this, which is fun stuff. I get to talk to people like you, Sam. Um, This Dot is a modern web development and consulting firm. So we're trusted experts in many different industries and sectors. And we really love to help scale development teams and bring innovative ideas to life. On that AI subject, I feel like we have really started to start integrating some of these AI POCs that we've been doing in the past year into systems. And I think that is what 2025 is.
Yeah,
2024, I feel like, was the year of the POC, and 2025 is really the year of integrating those POCs and figuring out how to make it work and scale in larger
yeah,
systems,
yeah.
right? So
Yes.
yeah, so if you're interested in checking us out, you can definitely check us out at thisdot.co. That's thisdot.co. And back to our episode. So, Sam, I have a question for you. If you had a magic wand and you could fix just one outdated process in your industry, in the value chain today, like what would you do and what would you target first?
I think it's the integration of all these processes, right?
Hmm.
Between our fundraising and investments and accounting side of things, legal side of things. I mean, it has to for a property to close, it has to go through a bunch of areas, bunch of process to, and then manage them, right? If we can find some process that magically able to integrate all this data together and able to surface. I mean, the technology is there, but it takes time to build all that. It's not like it's not there. So if you ask for a magic wand and I want to overnight solve that, I really want to solve that integration of all the systems. And if I were to build something, can I build something one really sophisticated, streamlined system that can bring all this data together?
Oh, yes, I love that. Actually, it's funny because we work a lot with DocuSign, and DocuSign's been doing a lot of stuff with basically becoming a platform, right? Not just becoming like a contract signing
Yeah,
application, but an actual platform. And I'm
yeah,
actually so curious if maybe somebody like DocuSign or somebody building on top of DocuSign as a platform can kind of solve some of these problems. I would imagine it's really the process around paperwork and keeping everything in place and all that manual stuff that
yeah,
makes it a little bit complicated. And people. People is always a
yeah,
complication
yeah.
too.
Yeah, because like I said, every step in commercial real estate is
Hmm.
involves a lot of relationships,
Hmm.
working with documents and papers, and having this data in different systems. So
Hmm.
fundraising people will have their own system of tracking all their investors and
Mm,
documents and all that stuff that they can manage their investors.
yes.
Acquisitions does the same thing.
Yes.
And then accounting does the same thing. But they need all this data coming into their system.
Yes.
And then from accounting, then legal wants their set of things, but they want to make sure it's reviewed and before the contract is signed. Again, they want
Yes.
the same data, right? But it's all they are using different systems, and they need to email back and forth or talk to each other, get the same data. And at the end of the day, how do we make all this work together, right? That's the challenge.
Yes. Well, speaking of data, which I feel like the data conversation has been happening for quite some time now, but it's
Yeah,
even hotter these
yeah,
days. So anybody who invested in data and is a data engineer, y'all are very popular people right now.
yeah,
Um, did
yeah,
you see that Databricks valuation and that $10 billion round?
yeah, yeah. I saw
I think
that.
that is a true testament to what you're saying, that,
Yeah,
data, AI just really matter right now.
yeah, yeah. I mean, data is everything. I mean, AI runs on data,
Yeah.
obviously. Yeah. And and how a lot of the how do we find value in all this data for
Hmm.
specific use cases that we can when I speaking of real estate and leasing side of things, if you want to
Hmm.
automate leasing, we want to be able to find value with our data, but also compare leasing with other assets in that area, right?
Hmm.
But we want to have our own data, compare that, be able to bring that all together and find the right lease comps for us to value that property, right? So how do we bring all that together? Um, Again, it comes because of data. That's why I said first thing to do is really work on the data, cleaning the data, data governance, and
Yes.
data management.
Well, it's really great listening to you talk to this, because me as an entrepreneur, if I was listening to this, I would say, wow, there's a lot of really great startup ideas here,
Yeah.
that somebody could capitalize on. But I'm
Mhm.
actually curious, as within your organization, how do you all do innovation on things like this? Because I almost feel like every problem you're trying to solve is a little company in its own. It could be spun off as, and you're
Yeah.
owned by PE, right? So they probably love that idea.
This That's another issue, really, in my view, with real estate is there's a lot of small companies,
Hmm.
startup companies have solved small issues, right?
Hmm.
One of they will solve certain portion of, say, leasing or document management or legal contracts. So they have solved all these little things.
Hmm.
Again, it because it's done by separately. It is separate teams and separate holistic systems. Again, there's a need for integration when we start using all these little startup. But there are a lot of startup ideas behind this, and so there is already a lot of money in the startup in this CRE space. Again, they are solving for one thing. And how do we bring them all together? Because I need all of that, right? So
Yes, yes.
So
But it's hard, especially once you're doing development, right? Like one startup working with
yeah,
another startup working with another startup.
right.
And
Yeah,
you have experience with startups too, so then it's what's this co-founder's personality? What's that
correct.
co-founder's personality? Do we want to work together? You're
Yeah.
not
Other,
taking good
other
advice here.
other thing is many companies have proper integration methodology.
Mm,
They have APIs, some don't want to open up their data. So
makes
there's a lot
sense.
of these things, right?
Yes, yes.
Uh, so finding the right partner to do all this and a vendor who has the expertise to bring
Yeah,
it together, that's the
yeah.
challenge.
Oh, sounds like fun. But again, this is my entrepreneurial spirit saying, wow, I
Yeah.
just heard five company ideas coming from you, Sam. Like, so
Yeah.
anybody listening to this, if you need ideas, I should actually post this more in these commercial real estate startup type platforms because hopefully maybe you'll be getting hit up a lot for some
And we haven't
advice.
even talked about building optimization and all that stuff, right? So
Yeah.
when you own a building, um, large, especially like office buildings, for example, there's ton of data being collected, right, for energy optimization, HVAC, energy analysis, property performance, predictive maintenance, a lot of these things.
Hmm.
Right? The large companies like CBRE or JLL, they are doing all this stuff, but
Hmm.
smaller ones, how do they do this?
I love that. I love that. Well, final words. So any any misconceptions you want to clear up for this sort of hype around AI and the CRE space?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of AI talk,
Uh-huh.
right? Everybody wants to jump the bandwagon and start working on AI stuff, but I think there's there is a lot of opportunities in AI. It's not to me, it's not a hype. It is real,
Hmm.
but at the same time, be cautious about spending the money because um, what you put in today might change 6 months from now, right? So first thing is really make sure your data is clean, data is managed properly, you understand the data, you know the source of truth, and then create a strategy with your data and other models that you want to work with. And there is also compliance piece and cybersecurity piece all that you have to work cautious about. I think um, just because everybody's talking about it, just don't jump into AI and start doing into big things. Start with like administrative tasks and things like that,
Hmm.
right? So that's my thought on that.
Yeah, I'll add to that too and say you should really be focused on what are your top goals?
Yeah,
What are the top goals of the business? If it's not
yeah,
a top goal of the business, does it actually even matter? Should you actually spend
correct.
dollars, just like you're saying, on it? Because focus is everything, especially, I mean, resources are limited.
You're right. I mean, with limited resources, and your technology investment should really align with business goals.
Yes.
And are we really making an impact? Is there a ROI in doing this? How is it going to impact our business and help move it forward? So yeah, I
Well,
agree.
amazing. Sam, where can we find you online?
I'm on LinkedIn.
Okay.
You can search my name and you should be able to find me. An open networker, so I'm glad to have as much network as possible. I love talking about technology and CRE and all that. So I'm glad we are having this conversation.
Yes, well, thank you. Don't leave us just yet, but thank you again, everyone, for listening today. Definitely check out Sam on LinkedIn. Sam, thank you for just inspiring everybody today with so many different interesting ideas. You are just such a wealth of knowledge. And again, for everybody listening, we will see you next time.